Hi, Tina Odell here from Dr. Katie's class. I'm here today to talk to you about methods, patterns, a thematic analysis. I'm going to skip ahead a couple of slides. Table of contents, these are all the things that we're going to go through today. We're going to do a brief intro. I'm going to talk about my process, speak to you a little bit about my affinity diagram, talk about my mind map, and we're going to review that in depth. I want to share with you the instructive visual that I created, how I plan to apply this in the future, and just some closing thoughts and my reference and a couple of pictures in my appendix. So what led Tina to this class? Really, it's about the next phase of growth for me. It's about wanting to help create sustained change and innovation. I'm in the tech industry, and it seems like we're always changing, always innovating. That's how we stay in business and stay current. And I want to learn how to embrace formal knowledge and formal techniques and methods and be able to utilize those to drive sustainable growth. So that's my goal. And in diving into these methods and analyzing them and looking for themes, I'm hoping to take away some valuable insights. And I think I've found a few that I can share with you. So let's dive in. So what was my process like? My process was first to embrace the methods that we were assigned. So Dr. Katie assigned us several methods: appreciative inquiry, collaborative arts, liberating structures, open space technology, and World Cafe. In addition to that, we were allowed to pick a method, and I chose peer spirit circling, or peer circling, as I have it labeled here on the chart. I chose that one because I'm always curious about any of the methods that use the idea of a circle. I just think a circle is very welcoming, and it is something that dates back to the beginning of time, before people had so many things to do in towns, and they would just gather around the campfire or gather in a circle, and they would share their collective wisdom in how to overcome problems, how to heal people that were sick, how to they would share their techniques for doing things better. And I think the idea of the circle still being so valuable to us today as it was originally is something that just really intrigues me. So my process was a little bit all over the place. I started out taking notes as I would read the chapters. I then sort of graduated to using the Post-it notes to try to put together an affinity map. I then went to my whiteboard because I just couldn't get everything I was looking for out of the Post-it notes. I couldn't display them in a way that I could see everything. So I started writing everything on my whiteboard. And believe it or not, to my brain, the whiteboard was more clear and crystallizing than my Post-it notes. But I think I just don't have a wall big enough to put my Post-its on. You see them on my dining room table there. And then lastly, I kind of dove into trying to translate everything into a mind map. So let's dive in a little bit, take a look. The affinity diagram, like I said, the Post-its just really it was therapeutic for me as I was reading to just start jotting down ideas on a Post-it and putting them in a pile, and I had a color designated for every method. But what I started finding was I had a ton of Post-its and no place to really put them where I could spread them out. And it wasn't easy for me to go through all of those little bits of paper. I wasn't really sure how to file the information, so that was a struggle. So once we started talking about the design elements and how those applied to each of the methods, that gave me something to sort of anchor around. And in my mind, that looks like the chart that I have on the slide here. That's how my head wants to organize these methods. Is I want to look at each method. What is their invitation like? Why, or what is the purpose? Why do they use that method? Who is involved? From the system standpoint. So what I started doing is I went back to my Post-its, and on the right, you see how I updated my Post-its for my affinity diagram. I actually started putting the method in the upper right corner, the insight in the middle, and then in the lower left, I was able to anchor myself around one of the design elements. And that really helped me wrap my brain around what we were doing. Then I was able to jump into the mind map, and from the mind map, I was able to take my Post-its, take my whiteboard, and really start pulling together some insights. So from an invitation standpoint, there's a spirit of collaboration. It's open to everyone. It can be prescriptive. So those were the three big themes that I saw in invitation. For purpose, it's complex problems, collective wisdom, positive innovation, enabling teaming. The system, very interesting to me, who should be involved. There's usually a leader, there's a leadership team, there's facilitators, there's participants, there's a design team, and then there are times where there's a method-driven leader, a specialty type person. Experience, there's circles, positive approach, embracing diversity, finding synergy, evidence-based methods where there's prescribed steps that you need to do to support that method. And actually those are the four. That side really resonated with me. That's the side that I always dug into on each method. Then for evidence, it gets a little harder to kind of pinpoint the evidence for each one. There's social science, complexity science, neuroscience, behavior science, social constructionism. Technology, it's either on-site in person, online virtual, it could be method dependent. Many of the methods are flexible and accommodating. Some of the key values: collaboration, etiquette, trust, active participation, equal voice, personal responsibility, synergy, inclusiveness. And then last, mastery. You're either practicing, it's easy to pick it up just by practicing, you kind of embrace it and dive in and do it. Workshops, experience. So over time, you just become experienced and you get better, and that's how you work your way to mastery. And there's coaching and mentoring. So lots of different insights on the mind map that started coming together for me at this stage in the process. My instructive visual. I'm excited to share this with you. I put together this chart as I was going over the methods again this weekend. I really really started resonating with liberating structures. I love the fact that they have prescribed these 33 methods that are very simple, very easy to understand, and they've really gone out of their way to make these not overly academic and easy for anyone to read and figure out how to host these individual methods or activities. So I love that. It's practical and easy to start. So if we start in the upper left, the light green, you create a couple of sentences to represent the challenge. Place a check mark next to the objectives that you wish to achieve. Organize your objectives into a logical beginning, middle, end. The beginning is your first step. The middle is your next step. So then what you do is you embrace that beginning outcome, go to the chart, read through the chart, and find the sentence that resonates with what you're trying to accomplish, the outcome you're trying to drive, and choose a method. In this instance, I have 1, 2, 4, all. So most of us have done the 1, 2, 4, all activity. It's pretty simple. You just take some time, think about it yourself, then you get in pairs and you discuss it, and then there's 4 of you and you discuss it, and then you share an insight out to the group. Very simple. Anyone can embrace that and do that with practice. And then there in the lower left are 5 things you need to do to support your activity. You need to have an invitation, decide who's going to participate, decide the structure of your groups, find a space that will accommodate you, and then just go over the sequence and timing. So very simple to do these little short activities. Then you can start stringing them together. So you have these, you can do a shift and share, wicked questions, 1, 2, 4, all together. And that makes a really nice little planning session for a group. So I love how liberating structures can come together that way. And I look forward to diving into the book and learning more about that, and hope that you do too. Application, affinity diagrams. Thematic analysis is based on qualitative research. So these are science-based, but it also is focused on identifying patterns, themes, meaning, and data, whether primary or secondary. That was from the grad coach video that I watched about how to start doing affinity diagramming. I love the fact that it is the simple way to sort of taking notes. I did not love the fact that I kind of got lost and buried in trying to identify the themes. So there's the inductive and deductive. Once we got to deductive and we had the elements to ground ourselves in, that was much easier for me. Mind mapping is something I thought I would love. Ended up not loving it so much. I do love the fact that mind mapping is all about the curves and the swirls, and it's not straight lines and hard corners. I love the use of color. I love the fact that you should attach like single words so that you can anchor something else onto that, and you can just keep brainstorming and branching out and out and out. But for me, being a novice, it was a little bit much for me to wrap my head around and to do it well. I hope to do a little bit more with mind mapping in the future and get better at it. And the instructive visual, I loved preparing that for you guys. I loved presenting it. It's definitely a piece that I would do more of in the future. In conclusion, the day you plant the seed is not the day you get to eat the fruit. My plan starting out was to stay on top of this, do everything piece by piece, well in advance, so I would have plenty of time to do a really great presentation. In reality, life happens. I'm going long on this presentation, and I haven't been able to tell you everything that I would like to tell you. So the key learning is best laid plans, plant the seeds, keep watering, keep nurturing, and over time, it'll all sink in and grow. The biggest thing for me is I feel like I have a really good understanding of the methods right now. I definitely have a good understanding of the invitation, purpose, system, and experience, and I think that's really key. And I plan to use this learning to dive deeper into the methods and see how I can apply this more in the future. Here are some of my references, lots of references from the Change Library, also a number of the videos around mind mapping, infinity mapping were incredibly useful, as well as several of the case studies that Dr. Katie shared with us. And lastly, here is a peek at my appendix, my work product as I was going throughout. Thank you so much. Have a great day.